Nearly all of the prominent characters in the Walking Dead universe have a signature weapon. Rick has his Colt Python, Michonne has her katana, Negan has his skull-crushing Bat Lucille, and even Otis has his Remington 700 BDL. Given that everyone seems to have their preferred weapon, I decided to rank all of them on which weapon is the best overall. Now, clearly I can't cover all of the weapons for every character, nor can I cover every character under the fucking sun, but I will be covering quite a few. Also keep in mind that this is my opinion and it's not meant to be totally objective. I'm just trying to have some fun with this video. With that said, let's get the ball rolling with the absolute worst signature weapon in the series. From a major character, being Tyrese's hammer. This drop-forged carbon steel killer short blunt comes in handy as a weapon of last resort. It never needs to be sharpened, never has to be reloaded, is lightweight, extremely portable, and can sometimes be stealthy. The hammer's claw can also be used as a stabbing weapon, so clearly this weapon can strike in various ways. It also doubles as a handy tool for all of your home improvement needs. But aside from that, its melee range is total ass. If you're not a hulking Chad like Tyrese, it may even take multiple smashes before you bust a walker's skull open, especially since the hammer is a one-handed weapon, thus limiting its kinetic potential. Using this weapon overall is risky and ineffective when compared to other weapons. But smashing walker heads with your own post-apocalyptic Mjolnir is fucking metal as shit. That being said, I'm gonna have to place this hammer in the shit tier.
Now, how's about a big hug for your old pal Merle?
That's right, the next weapon I'm covering is Merle's bayonet arm. This sharp, prosthetic arm comes equipped with a detachable bayonet, and it is also made of solid materials for excellent blunt trauma-inducing strikes. Since it's attached to one of your limbs, you can't really drop the weapon, and the bayonet can be used as a utility knife. But most of all, this edgy weapon can penetrate walker and human skulls with ease. However, if this weapon gets stuck in a skull, that could mean bad news for its user. It's also a short-ranged melee weapon that removes your ability to use a secondary free hand. Hence, grappling is much harder with this prosthetic, and so is shooting. Oh, and let's not forget that a bayonet needs to be sharpened and the tip can break. But this weapon can be insanely stealthy, considering knives make like zero noise when stabbing shit. And even without the blade, it still makes for an excellent smashing weapon that can also be utilized as a small shield against walker bites. Overall, I'd say Merle's stabby prosthetic goes into the bronze tier.
This is how.
Joining the prosthetic gang is CRM Rick with his metal Death Fist, which comes equipped with an Assassin's Creed-styled hidden blade. This incredibly sturdy Iron Fist has all of the same benefits as Merle's prosthetic, with the added advantage that his blade can be retracted when needed. It also has a better form factor that allows Rick to better engage in hand-to-hand combat. The hand itself is also easily detachable and appears to be made of better materials. However, it does provide less protection than Merle's trailer park prosthetic. As such, Rick's CRM Assassin's Fist goes into the bronze tier just above Merle's weapon. Despite how cool Rick's and Merle's prosthetic hands are, both fail to meet the raw power of Aaron's Doom Fist. This medieval mace for a hand makes quick work of walkers, and it can certainly make quick work of normal human beings as well. It certainly requires less maintenance than a bladed weapon, while also being able to crush armor. Aaron's prosthetic also comes with the ability to switch from his Doom Fist to a more traditional prosthetic hand. While Aaron's spiked ball of pain isn't stealthier than Rick's or Merle's prosthetics, it is more effective and reliable overall. Plus, not only is it intimidating, but it also just looks sick as fuck. That's why I'm topping out the bronze tier with this spiky weapon.
This is Lucille. And she is awesome.
Next up at the plate is everyone's favorite vampire bat, Lucille. This solid wood Louisville slugger is wrapped in barbed wire to improve its durability, while also granting it the ability to lacerate foes. Given the weight of this wooden club, it can easily break bones as well, without ever needing to be sharpened. Since it is a handheld weapon, you can use it with one or two hands, thus granting it more versatility than any prosthetic. You can even use it to better shove walkers and people around. That being said, it can be dropped during melee combat, and because of its length, it is ineffective in extremely close quarters combat. But its melee range certainly grants it an advantage over the prior mentioned weapons, if and only if combat is conducted with enough room to allow this bat to swing fully. The bat may also break or bend blades with a strong enough swing. Lucille is, however, not a stealthy weapon, and it isn't portable like the previously mentioned weapons. Overall, Lucille is a devastatingly deadly and intimidating melee weapon, earning it a spot in the silver tier.
Why?
What? Because all life is precious, Daryl.
Whether you think life is precious, or whether you feel like clearing this world of all sentient beings, Morgan's thick staff of justice and retribution is one hell of a weapon that'll have you seeing red after a murder spree. It has a sharp end to stab, a blunt end to stagger, and plenty of melee range to easily keep all other previous weapons at bay. This glorified stick is not to be underestimated. It can also be used as a hiking stick as well. However, this weapon loses its effectiveness at close range, and it can potentially break, especially against a weapon like Aaron's Doomfist. It also isn't super portable. Unlike Lucille, it does require the use of two hands for optimal use, but its effective range, its speed, and its versatility ranks it above the weapons covered thus far. That's why it places just above Negan's weapon of choice in the silver tier. When compared to this weapon, the previous entries simply don't make the cut. That's right, Michonne's katana is easily the best melee weapon on the list. It can easily cleave through multiple bodies, has enough range to keep all but Morgan's staff at bay, and is easily portable and stealthy. Sure, you have to worry about edge alignment, but a katana's range and swing speed will make quick work of everyone mentioned thus far on the list. Michonne's katana must also be made of some type of vibranium or adamantium, considering the blade has held its integrity for far longer than it ever should have. Also, it should go without saying that this weapon is just fucking badass. It literally allows me to be a weeb in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. That's why the bride's weapon is a cut above the rest in silver tier.
Trail ends here.
The pen is mightier than the sword. Then came the gun. Yep, that's right, ladies and gents. We're gonna start talking about guns from here on out, and the least effective firearm would have to be Alpha's sawed-off double-barrel shotgun. This bitch spits lead and can one-tap anyone or any walker, but it can only blast 2 shells before needing to be reloaded. It is, however, super portable and can be well concealed. However, since it is a gun, it does carry the risk of drawing by nearby walkers, and once fired, it eliminates your ability to be stealthy. One can even use this thing as a blunt weapon as well, if the need were ever to arise. That being said, this double barrel puts the weapons mentioned previously to shame. When faced with its wrath, you'd have no choice but to seek cover or retreat. That's why it sits comfortably in the silver tier. If you think Alpha's double barrel's a monster, you're gonna be absolutely terrified of Rick's literal hand cannon. Officer Not So Friendly's Colt Python can donut just about any fleshy target at a much greater range than Alpha's boomstick, and it could do it with far more accuracy while having to reload less often. It can also be comfortably holstered, allowing the user to free their hands. As such, this Magnum Menace can be used as a deadly and reliable sidearm or secondary weapon. This also improves portability and can even be used to conceal the firearm under a shirt. Like all firearms, this handheld howitzer will definitely attract some unwanted attention, but it is by far a superior weapon to those covered thus far. Not to mention, it's probably the coolest weapon on the show. hence it earns the top spot in silver tier. Not a single weapon on this list can tag a deer and a child at the same time at over 100 yards, except for Otis's Remington 700 BDL. This hunter's rifle can fire 5 shots from across the continental United States with the pinpoint precision of a laser pointer. It absolutely sucks in close quarters, but with this weapon, you'll never have to put yourself in harm's way. At least not while you're out in the woods or in an open field, which is sorta perfect for anyone who's the size of a literal area code. That said, the scope on this rifle can also be used as a less effective binocular. It can certainly be slung behind your back as well for better portability. And since it's a rifle, it can be used to bludgeon a person or walker to death, utilizing the rifle stock and butt. It might even be possible to attach a bayonet or knife to the end of this rifle via glue or duct tape, to grant it some utility in close quarters combat. Like all firearms, its weakness is the noise it generates and its need to reload. Speaking of reloading, this bad boy can only hold up to 5 rounds before you have to feed it some new bullets. It also has a shit fire rate. All things being considered, this rifle is clearly for the ones who eat, and that's why I have it as the gatekeeper for gold tier.
Let me tell you something else, man. If she was alive out there, saw you coming, all methed out with your buck knife, your geek ears around your neck, she would run in the other direction.
If stopping power and spread is your priority, then Shane's Mossberg 590 is going to be your favorite weapon on the list. This legendary metal death stick will clear hordes on its own with an ammo capacity that can reach up to 7 to 9 shells depending on the ammunition being utilized. No weapon mentioned thus far really has the tremendous killing potential as this weapon as well, with the only downside to this weapon being its weak stats as a melee weapon, and the insane noise it generates and also the lack of accuracy at range it possesses as a firearm. That said, I'd say Shane's Shoddy is deserving of its high placement on this list in the gold tier.
Shut up.
Imagine having a weapon that has excellent range, excellent penetrating power, excellent accuracy, and then imagine that that weapon is fairly silent when firing. Luckily for you, such a weapon does exist, and it is Daryl's crossbow. The ammunition for this bad boy can literally be crafted via the endless supply of wood in forests, and said ammo can be often reused after firing. Even a simple field tip is going to kill any human being or walker with a headshot. You can also bash heads in with the end of this beautiful bow, and the arrows themselves can be used as daggers. The only downside to this weapon is its fire rate and reload speed, putting it at a serious disadvantage against other firearms. But it does outclass the other firearms previously mentioned on this list precisely because of its reliability and versatility against not only people but also against walkers. The ability to perform stealth kills also makes it insanely valuable, and the affordability of its ammunition places it in a class of its own. This is why Daryl's weapon sits high in gold tier. Before we talk about the #1 weapon in The Walking Dead, we have to place this iconic weapon in the runner-up spot. Said weapon being Philip Blake's AUG A1 assault rifle. This bullpup rifle has a better fire rate and better ammo capacity than all other weapons thus mentioned, and it also has one hell of an effective range, with its bullpup design allowing it to be insanely effective even in close quarters combat, due to the form factor of the weapon. But you want to know the best part about the AUG A1 sauce? It's fucking cool as hell. Anyone rocking this Chad as fuck weapon honestly deserves the title of king in the Walking Dead universe. All hail the fucking governor. With that being said, this weapon does have its drawbacks. The ammunition will not be as plentiful as the weapons previously mentioned, and it's also likely to require more extensive maintenance. Like all other firearms, it also generates plenty of noise and eventually has to reload. But who honestly gives a fuck? I mean, this weapon's sick, and it's more than deserving of a top placement in any weapons tier list. There can only be one true king in the Walking Dead universe, and it's Herschel's species-ending, speed-running, infinite ammo-glitched shotgun. Like, need I say more? It never runs out of fucking ammunition. It literally has no weaknesses. Who cares about range when you can just suppress enemies with never-ending suppressive fire? Like I said, it literally has no weaknesses. Given enough time, you could clear all of fucking Atlanta with this bitch. Honestly, they should have never patched this weapon at the end of Season 2. Anyways, that concludes this gold standard Walking Dead video. If you enjoy this sort of content, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also remember that you may opine anytime if you feel so inclined down in the comments section. I'm Captain Gold and hope to see you in my next gold standard video.